All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having yourselves a fantastic start to the day here. Happy Thursday. And yeah, I hope you guys are all having yourselves a fantastic start to your morning and are refreshed, recharged, and ready to go on what has been a pretty nice trading week here so far. Just before we start, need to make a quick disclosure. I've had some internet issues starting kind of last night. Nothing here too crazy, or I haven't had any disconnections or anything along those lines here today. But if something does pop up, right, please let me know. As I basically just didn't have internet for like 5 hours there last night. So yeah, let me know if there's any issues or anything along those lines. Should be okay. I've got my proper internet getting set up here on Tuesday. So just a couple days left basically of some potential issues. So just let me know if there's any problems or anything along those lines. And hopefully, right, we have no disconnections or anything like that. If for whatever reason, right, the stream drops for a couple moments, just bear with me. I'll obviously update that in the Discord, but just want you guys to be aware of that here this AM. Is that kind of was a bit of a pain in the ass there last night. But yeah, besides that, looking forward to trading with you all here this morning. Should be a relatively interesting trading day. We've done a good job here navigating some of these little breakouts this week. And maybe now the market's starting to slow down here just a little bit, and we're looking for I don't want to call it a top here yet. That's probably a little bit too aggressive, but we could be looking for like a little bit of a short-term pullback, a retest maybe of that bull flag before a nice little continuation here to the upside. So hopefully, right, no issues. We have a smooth trading day. We kind of get up and keep going. If I'm thinking about my trading here a little bit this week, right, it has been a really nice evolution, right, of what we've kind of been focusing on here over the last, I'll say, month or so. The nice little addition, I would say, relative to maybe how price action has kind of behaved, or maybe how my technique has evolved here this week, has been the move to be a little bit more aggressive with how I am pyramiding into my positions. So instead of waiting, right, for candle to close, reset, do whatever, yada, 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 been willing to basically pyramid into trades intra-candle, right? And that has ultimately been a really nice boost here to my P&L. It's given me more opportunities to pyramid into positions, and that's helped me really juice the odds in my favor, right? Yesterday, really good example. It was one trade up, one trade down, one trade up, one trade down, and then one flying trade here to the upside, right? Or one kind of like mega move there to the upside, where we were able to build into 6 positions where, maybe, or 6 contracts, I should say, sorry, right? Where maybe in the past, I would have only been able to sort of keep that 2 contracts, right? So that for me has been really, really positive. That's something that I want to keep focusing on and keep kind of improving on. And obviously, we'll do my best to try to continue to highlight some of those opportunities, right? And explain to you guys why I'm pyramiding and when I'm pyramiding and all that fun stuff. So looking forward to basically continuing to build out some of those techniques, looking to continue to improve, right? Basically how we're continuing to trade. But it's been awesome, right? We've had a really nice little run of form. Markets have been treating us relatively well. And even though, right, maybe we're not getting it's not 100% win rate here, doesn't need to be that. And I think that the more that we basically juice the odds in our favor, the more that we look for those tight risk reward scenarios, right, and then add to our winning trades, the more margin of error we have, right, and we can effectively make our win rate irrelevant. And although I don't want to judge myself here on my win rate, I know that when, we get those numbers up to like 70%, right, or something along those lines, that all of a sudden we're going to have a pretty powerful edge, and kind of just looking forward to seeing things kind of revert back a little bit to where we were at in January and February and March. Things have gone a little bit more choppy, a little bit more bouncy here over the last, say, 3 or 4 weeks. And that's fine, right? Markets are going to do that. We're going to have those periods where we thrive. We're going to have those periods where we need to survive. And we're going to have those periods where it's a little bit in the middle. And we can keep making money basically in all of those opportunities. So that's going to continue to be the focus here, right? Control the variables I can't control, be a psychopath with my risk management, right? I always say that I want to be the Richard Rodriguez of risk management, the Night Stalker, right, of risk management. And, that really ultimately is what makes me like a good trader, right? Or what my like best edge is as a trader. It's my ability to lose small. It's my ability to basically survive taking multiple shots. And then I can look to add to my winning positions, right? And really juice the odds in my favor. So we've done a really good job here, right, of managing our trades well on those initial entries. And we keep getting better and better, right, at adding to our winning positions. And fundamentally, that's just making our job easier as traders, right? And, the way that I want to think about it here on a consistent basis is that I really want to focus on making my win rate irrelevant, right? The less I attach my ego to my win rate, and the more I basically just allow the trades to play out the way that they should, the more money I make. And if I am basically managing my risk in a way as if, my win rate isn't important and I can survive, some losing trades, the better my trading goes, right? The more likely I am to sit at all-time highs, the more opportunities I have to compound my trades, and the less mental capital I'm going to basically exert to the market on opportunities that aren't absolutely perfect. So this is kind of a market where it's really easy to get discouraged. And so it's important that we focus right on keeping our sizing at a point and our risk management at a point where getting discouraged isn't the most likely outcome, right? Because once that then occurs, we lose that opportunity or we lose that mental capital to get that A+ trade or to get that follow through and to get that kind of opportunity, right? That puts us over the top. And yesterday was a great example of that. I posted this on the Discord from my mobile there yesterday of like, this was crazy price action yesterday, right? Like this was not exactly a smooth trading day there by any means. And we took, a decent amount of shots, right, to try to find our perfect opportunity. And we got one really good one. We got a 3K win effectively on one of our trades. And that made our day by a long shot. So if we can build up more and more of those types of trades and just take our small losses in between, pretty good, right? It's kind of one of those things where like sometimes you have to lose the battle to win the war. And, markets are very much dictating that is the case. And if we don't attach our ego to that singular outcome, we're putting ourselves in a much better situation on a consistent basis to be able to, basically walk away green on the day, right? I know it sucks, but win rate is not the most important statistic. It's kind of like a vanity metric. And so I want to be making sure that isn't what is really influencing my trading. I say this a lot. I love the Market Wizard series because what it does is it shows you how basically the largest or the best outliers, right, in stock market history behave and how they trade. And the ones that consistently, get those like 1,000% years, or they have their, 500% years over a 30-year career, they're ones that generally don't have that 90% win rate, right? They're trading, right, with like 40%, 30%, 50% win rates. And it's the same thing, right? They're adding to their winning positions. They're taking a lot of shots. They're surviving that variance. And they're basically expanding their surface area so that there are more opportunities for them to effectively get lucky. That for me is fantastic, right? And that's really powerful, right? It's really positive. That's something that we want to continue to focus on. And if we can continue to build out on some of those techniques, right, we're going to do really well here as traders. And I'm optimistic and excited, right, that we've got a good foundation here in play. And I'm expecting, today to be more of the same, right? And to be another strong session here inside the DTR room. So, with that being said, team, let's start mapping things out here a little bit. Let's figure out what we want to do here this AM. And let's have ourselves just an absolutely great trading day and have a lot of fun. So obviously here today, much busier economic calendar, right? We've got a pretty full slate of kind of events, right? Pretty much more today than we've had here for the entirety of the week. We've got some Fed speak here today. We've got business inventories at 10, and then nothing else too crazy besides that, but certainly looking pretty interesting. We're also getting a little bit closer, right, towards the futures roll on CL. That starts tomorrow. So maybe expecting a little bit of some wacky behavior, right, in CL. But we've had a great time trading NQ here this week. I don't see why maybe I would deviate my focus away from that here in the short term. But let's set ourselves up for what should be a successful trading day. So what's the count on ES? Let's start there. And figure it out. So let's give us a second or two. Yeah, so spot on, right? Yesterday, a formal day of consolidation, right? Didn't get a breakout higher, didn't get a breakout lower, and on thin volume. So makes sense, right? We're looking for then that inside bar breakout. We've kind of made that little fake out low here this morning. And we'd be looking, right, for a pop towards, say, that 59.30 or a move down towards sort of that 58.30. So it looks pretty reasonable. And then 58.30 there to the downside. And then we got to start to map this out a little bit. So we'll look towards maybe 5,800 as like our starting point. Even call this 58.40. I think it's 58.38. So we'll round that up. So 58.40, 58.20, 58.10, 5,800. And then we can look for a move past those areas. Right. And then we're going to look for like maybe like a 57.70. So a lot of space, right? If we can get that momentum, but let's make sure, right, that we can kind of go from there. Any questions, team? Any questions? Make sense? Yeah. All right, perfect. NQ, what's the count? Similar, not so similar? How do we feel? Yeah, so Jack, I mean, you're flying through it here again this morning. So 1 for 3 here to the upside. And we're looking, right, for a breakout now towards that 21.4 is going to be taken care of by the indicator. So 21.5 to the upside, don't need to change that too much. And then to the downside, right, 21.2 is going to be our starting point. Again, I imagine that's going to be taken care of by the indicator. So I'm going to be looking for a 21.1 and below, and then 21.5 or higher, right, on any continuation moves. So don't have to change too much here. And let's see if we can get that nice little breakout. All right, so CL, inside bar there yesterday, right? A day of consolidation. We're creeping up in towards the futures roll. That does create a little bit of a extra environment, right? If you want to call that here today. So effectively, right, the reason why we want to be a little bit more patient around the futures roll is that you get a lot of forced buying and selling, right? So you get a lot of people that are holding long-term theses, or they're hedging their portfolio, or they're doing whatever, and they now have to switch from one contract to the other. Otherwise, they're going to have to take physical delivery of 1,000 barrels of crude oil. And most people don't want to do that, right? That's a little bit of a disaster. So futures, right, are physically settled, or at least crude oil futures are physically settled. So if you choose to not roll your position into a futures contract, then you will take delivery of those barrels of oil. Now, the vast majority of participants aren't doing that. It's a relatively rare type situation. And so that's why they're switching from one contract to the next. The problem, right, when you start to get that forced buying or that forced selling, is you'll get really big volume bars that aren't necessarily an indication of a momentum change. So when I was working institutionally, right, I had a rule where I was never allowed to be more than 5% of market volume if I were to be entering a position. And when you get those really big volume bars, right, kind of creeping up towards the futures roll, those give me opportunities, or those would have given me opportunities, right, back in the day, to have basically executed a larger chunk of my trade, or to roll a larger portion of my trade instead of needing to do it all in one go. And then, people will look to play that in a variety of ways. But that's ultimately, right, the reason why you want to avoid it, is it just creates a few opportunities where price action can get a little bit challenging. And we want to make sure we don't get caught up in that here today. Now, I don't expect like the vast majority of volume to be happening here today. I mean, with the roll syncing up on a Friday, I would expect tomorrow to be probably the primary roll day. But again, right, just something to be a little bit aware of, as that volume can be a little bit deceptive and maybe not a very strong indication, right, of increasing momentum. Okay. And with that inside bar, right, we're looking for an ORB fake out breakout towards 63. And then up towards, we'll call that like 64. We'll go 63, 63.50, 64. And then maybe we can kind of push it up towards like 65. So 64.50, 65. And then to the downside, right, we'd be looking at that pre-market low, which is 60.50 and then beyond. And then we kind of go down maybe like 57.50. So we'll go 59.50, 59, 58.50, 58, 57.50. So CL, I mean, it will be on the list here today, but it's not going to be the primary focus or the thing that I care about the most. I'm going to be a little bit patient, a little bit cautious here, and let's see if this thing's got some nice momentum for us to take advantage of. Any questions? All right, sweet. So let's fire through some of our other leading names here. Higher high, higher low, decreasing volume. We're going to call this a week 2 out of 3 here. The downside without volume. Tesla, is that increasing volume? Yeah, just by the skin of its teeth. So it's a 2 out of 3 here to the upside without volume. And Tesla's definitely behaving like a leading name here recently. Microsoft, higher high, higher low, decreasing volume, gap down. So 1 for 3. Amazon, 2 out of 3. Still inside basically this big gap up range, right? Okay, AMD, 3 for 3 here to the downside. Looks like it might want to fill that gap. NVIDIA, 1 for 3 here. So already, right, as we're flying through some of these tickers, we're already seeing kind of like one ticker give us one story, one ticker give us the opposite story, right? So if I'm seeing that narrative here effectively across the board, what that starts to tell me, right, is that price action is maybe going to be a little bit choppier here today, or it might take a little bit longer for price action to become a bit more consistent prior to us being particularly aggressive. So I'm going to want to be just a little bit patient here this morning. And hopefully, right, we can kind of get some nice opportunities. Now, with these kind of larger size gap downs and those 2 out of 3s without volume, this sets up, right, as a mean reversion scenario here to the upside. So anticipating, right, that maybe we get a little bit of some dip buyers here this morning. Basically, maybe some bears might take some profit, right, as the session opens up. And then we look to fill those gaps from the bottom up. Okay, Netflix, 1 for 3 again. I see like a little bit of maybe like an ascending wedge type scenario here. Kind of something like that. So if we could break out up and over, would be great. Google finally catching up here to all of our other leading names. 3 for 3 here to the upside, and then possibly a wedge breakout. And then the old VIX 18.77. So implied range of like 1.2%. So if we look at our indexes here, right, we're definitely not making that move here today yet, or at least not in the pre-market. So looking forward, right, to seeing how this momentum basically wants to behave, and if we can get a nice level of enthusiasm here this morning. Any questions here, team? Any questions? Kind of make sense here this morning? How are we feeling? Awesome. Love to hear that. Great team. So we got 3 minutes here till market open. I'm gonna go make myself a cup of coffee. Woke up crazy early here this morning for whatever reason. So just give me a couple minutes. I'll be back in a second, and then we'll do a quick little rundown prior to the session starting. So just give me a sec, and I'll be back in a couple. All right, so we're back at it again. Let's see how the day shapes up here, team, right? I'm excited. Should be a relatively interesting day. And let's see how it goes, team, right? I'm excited. I'm ready to go. Hopefully, right, we can get some joy. And yeah, let's have ourselves a heck of a trading day. A good open here, right? All things considered. So now let's see, right, if this momentum effectively wants to continue sustaining for us. Not sure what that was. That was weird. Oh, I had a hanging order that got filled. So sorry about that. All right. So let's see how the day shapes up here, team. Okay. So first things first, right? We had that initial failed breakout there through highs, right? So failed pop above 5898, whatever you want to call it. Same thing on ES. So now we're looking for a fake out higher, fake out lower, and see if we can get price action to basically shape up nicely here. So just a little bit of a slower start here so far this AM, right? Price action just kind of consolidating in the middle of its opening range. Again, right? We want to see that fake out lower, then that fake out higher, and then we can have some joy. It's when you submit your order, Rebecca, there should be a button that says confirm. You'll be able to click that, and then it'll basically confirm on each of your subsequent trades basically at the moment you click it. So it'll be a one-click execution instead of a two-click execution. That makes sense? Okay, so we're getting some like bullish reversal signals here. Like ES, for example, right, is giving me a 10-minute bullish reversal. I don't know if this is a strong enough candle for me to jump in on that. But definitely worth keeping an eye out. Again, I'm going to wait for that fake out lower, fake out higher here. I don't really feel like based on where markets are at today that we have a mean reversion type reaction, right, to sort of where we're at. So I'm going to be filtering it out just a little bit here. Rebecca Aj also tagged you in a great message there in the members chat. Appreciate that, mate. So now potentially, right, we've got that set up there for that fake out lower and that fake out higher. Not quite on ES. We do have it on NQ. So let's see, right? And then all that does, right, is it means that we need to see a breakout over 340 or a breakdown, right, on volume under 21,278. So pretty choppy start here this morning for sure. I think that's undeniable. But look at us. It's 941. Haven't lost a dollar yet. A nice change. So no fake out there yet to the downside on NQ. Honestly, this and one of my favorite trading quotes of all time by Jesse Livermore, right, is you don't know what the market's going to do until you place a bet. And it's kind of a famous Jesse Livermore quote. And certainly been living that out here the last couple of weeks. Get a feel almost of what the market or how it's behaving once you place that first trade. So everyone could see. Man, my body is an asshole. It woke me up here today at like 4 a.m. I'm not quite sure why. Quite annoying. But hey, the coffee is strong. Nice to watch the sunrise. And yeah, kind of just waiting to see how price action is going to behave here this morning, and hopefully, right, we get a smooth session. Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a fake out here to the downside. Maybe we're going to have an opportunity here to the upside. I imagine ES is going to give me a 15 min reversal signal. Maybe this could be something that's in play, or a mean reversion. Same thing on NQ. We might have our pick of the litter there. That might be worth focusing on. Slightly stronger looking candle shapes, right, to definitely start the day off. Still positive for sure, albeit a bit slow here to start the day off. Okay, right. So those are our ES and NQ 15 min dings. What do you mean by that? Yeah. We're looking at a mean reversion setup here. This is mean reversion. So 96 plus 30, right, is going to be 26. You're kind of looking at that upper end of the Bollinger Band, right, as your profit target. That kind of works out pretty nicely. And then you'd be looking for now, at least the pullback entry technique. Let's just see how this thing behaves on that pullback lower. NQ's already flirting with those lows here just a little bit. So worth just being a tad patient here. Just going to set everything up, right? Stop loss would be 88. But let's just see. How this thing behaves. It's been kind of like if NQ just made those lower lows, I kind of think that ES will as well. Literally, as I'm saying it, it makes that lower low. So let's focus here on NQ now on this fake out breakdown. Right, that's going to be a stronger scenario here for me. Right, good volume. It's going to be second largest volume bar of the day. Let's focus on this. See how this closes. Important close here. If it fakes out close, that's not great. Ooh, just under. 57 to 77. Still within striking distance here for the aggressive. If it's going to be the pullback technique, it would have to be at 98 or better. So aggressive is preferred. And then I'd be looking right on a retest of that 257.75. Be a one contract play. So stop loss 21.278 short. One contract, right? Let's see if it can break down through those lows and then retest, right? That blue line as my entry price. That's not the right reaction there yet. Okay, sweet. So we're going to start looking for an entry here on a pullback. Oh, it just didn't give me that 270 or 257.75. That was so close. See if it does it here. Okay, sweet. So I am in one contract here, guys. 259.25. Stop loss 278 on the dot. Maybe not behaving the way that I would like here early. Let's see. I'm on. Ooh, interesting. That flirted with disaster there for a second. So I'm judging myself here on this position. I mean, I think the stop loss is correct, but my entry timing was shit. So take profit here is always the white line, right? You can always see that here drawn out, Natty. And I just took the stop loss there, minus 360. So we box it in, right? Draw out your Fibonacci with the white line to the red line. So that's always the first thing that we do, right? So took the stop. All right, so we use a technique called boxing in your trade, and that means that we're drawing our entry, right? We're finding our entry zone based on where our risk reward ratio is. So we draw that from our profit target up towards our stop loss location. and then look for an entry inside that zone. So that white line is always going to be the profit target. It's going to be based on what the indicator is telling me. So my indicator was telling me that my profit target needs to be 177.50-ish. And so that would have been my zone. Did take the stop loss on that trade though, minus 360. Yeah, so now we're going to be a little bit patient, right? No increasing volume there on that 3 min, so can't play that mean reversion look. It's a little bit aggressive to play this on the 5 min. But it is an inside bar, so the idea is not quite dead here yet. And then again, right, profit target now would be 21,169. So draw from profit target to stop loss. I don't know what I just clicked. So draw from profit target, right, to stop loss. So profit target is white line, right? Stop loss is red line. And then the difference between the green line and the red line is my appropriate risk reward entry zone. So that's okay. And if my stop needs to be 322.25, I would need an entry kind of in the early 300s. Call it 323 stop loss. Okay, watching closely here. I just couldn't get into the 300s for that little crack. It's disappointing. Nice work, Mike. And the reason, right, why I can't now take this trade is because with one contract, I'd be risking $740. That's more than my max risk that I'm willing to take on per trade. So I need a deeper pullback relative to that, right? So I need to be risking 25 points or less. And we're setting back up for that to be a possible opportunity here. All right, sweet. So I am back in 375 as my entry price. So let's see if this thing wants to crack. And honestly, a much better reaction than that first trade. So let's see if this thing wants to give me some follow through here and to push down. But so far, so good. So far, so good. Right, that's 380. So that's made back, right? The first loss of the day. Let's see if this thing's got some momentum still and we can look to hold on. Otherwise, right, look to get out if it stops behaving the way that we expect. Bit bouncy. Kind of keeps getting stuck at that fake out low, right? Kind of keeps getting stuck at that fake out low. Not super enthusiastic about. Again, a little double inside bar. It's not fantastic. Setting myself up a little bit for this 10 a.m. data. Those were just further signals. Please ignore those. Come on. Very, very bouncy all of a sudden. All right. Okay, guys, I'm closing this trade early. It's not behaving the way that I want. I don't like the pullback, so I got out at 319, saved myself 60 bucks. And we'll try this again potentially on maybe the breakout higher. Once it couldn't sustain that move right through that fake out low, I probably should have gotten out a little bit more aggressively than I did. That's all right. That's the way she goes. Keep your losers small and you're always in play. Oh, this is freaking theme of the year, though. Got to get spat on to feel alive with this market, it feels like. So sitting at minus 725. And it's just fake out higher, fake out lower, fake out higher, fake out lower. You can't trade this on the 3. CL, no thanks. It looks a disaster as my voice cracks. Why does this feel like deja vu to yesterday? Oh, they made some changes to it? I didn't see that. Yeah. Not going to break out over that blue line. We're looking for that first breakout through and holding it, right, to the upside. On ES, kind of, but that's such a shitty candle. Seems like it's setting up for another little breakout attempt. Uh, can't laugh, you got to cry. I mean, I won't complain if it's like that, but hey, sometimes you got to take a few shots before the market gives you an opportunity. It's the way she goes. Yeah, right? Losing is only personal if you make it personal. A little bit better on ES to the upside. Not the best candle shape. Problem with ES. Hard to get the position sizing here. I don't think so. I don't see anything different. At least not that I know of. It looks pretty similar in my opinion. Maybe it's like a partial rollout. I don't really see any changes. Maybe if I refresh my browser, everything's going to go haywire on me. Yeah, unfortunately. Kind of boring price action too. Telling me I woke up early for this. The heck? The heck, Mr. Market. The way it goes. Was it 7 green days in a row? So a problem with NQ, right, is I need to get a breakout and hold above that blue line, right? So until I get that breakout and hold above that blue line, it's just telling me fake out conditions. Right? So increasing volume or increasing outlier volume in itself is not enough. We need it to at least, right, break out above the opening range. And because we've had that fake out lower, now we need it to hold above that fake out higher. So we got to make sure we do things in the correct order, right? It's setup, confirmation, execution, not, oh, I've got confirmation standard. Let me see if I can find a setup trigger to justify it. That's it's a slippery slope. Right. So always do things in order. Even if you were playing a breakout, right, of the opening range, it would need to hold above that green box, right? Okay, so now we've got a fake out higher on ES, right, and that fake out lower. So again, right, we can box that in, give ourselves that range to work with. And we're chilling. Ugh. Again, brutal to have gotten faked out on our breakdown attempt. Would have been a great entry. So here, right, our setup trigger is now active because we've made a move under that blue line. Our confirmation is a break, close, and hold under this blue line on increasing outlier volume. So let's see. Might be able to get something on the 3 min here first. 40 seconds to go. It's got to close under 277. So 35 seconds, 20 points. Seeming bouncy. The other problem here relative to yesterday, right, is that the range in between the blue lines here pretty small. So I don't know if we could even play like range bound trades in between, which is annoying, but that's the way it goes. Okay, not a strong enough candle. So pass on that burden to a larger time frame. And continue to wait. What am I clicking here? Oh, I'm cold. I'm just complaining all morning. Who would have guessed that once you live in the mountains, it's a lot colder in the morning? Who would have known? Actually, on that trade, right? I saved on that last trade, saved myself 4 points. Pretty good. Saved myself $80. That's not bad. That's a win in itself. Well, I got something to be positive about. We need yeah, the ORB Costanza. And maybe we got something here. It's 10 points of space to the upside. The fake out high. So maybe we could do something here. Can't really pull back much more than this. Yeah, it's going to have to be a walk away now. Uh. Maybe this highlights what a sicko I am. I've got that like Bruno Mars song stuck in my head, like because I'm happy. But all I hear is because I'm choppy. Quite sure how it got into my cranium. Don't really listen to that kind of music. Yeah, again, right? We're looking for if I start singing in ads, I think we're all screwed. I do not have a voice for karaoke. It's not been an easy day here. I think I was able to weed out the piece of shit that was impersonating us there yesterday. I think I found him. It was actually a pretty funny experience. This individual was quite the frickin' idiot. They were trying to blackmail me, so they started out asking for $5,000, and then $2,000, and then $500, and then $200. They were negotiating against themselves, which is always great to see. And I asked them to send me a picture of their ID with their face so I could confirm that it's actually them. And they sent me like an ID that you could like reverse Google image search and find it. And the person that the fake ID or the ID that they sent me of was of a person who was in a Texas jail when you Googled them. So I was like, oh man, like these scammers are fucking idiots. I don't think that that piece of shit is smart enough to trade. No, they weren't claiming I was or they weren't claiming that they were legit. They were claiming that I was paying them in the background to scam DTR, and that if I didn't pay them the money, they would expose my messages. I hope they didn't either, Kyle. I don't think they did. But it's really fun to like get them to break character. Like that's like one of my favorite things to do. You get those spam calls. Like the only way that you'll get people to stop spam calling you is if you can get the person on the other line to like admit that they're a scammer, right? Or they admit that they're trying to steal from you. And then they'll put you on their own do not call list. That's like one of my favorite games to play. Like how can I ruin this person's day? Yeah, I've seen some pretty crazy shit in the past. Uh 5 maybe years ago, something along those lines. Someone called my high school and were pretending to be me, basically saying that oh, I was stuck in the Philippines or something along those lines, and that they needed to send money. And then my old high school called my dad asking if that was the case. And then I got a really panicked phone call from my father. So I imagine with AI as it gets better, this stuff is going to get more intense. The fundamental thing with those types of individuals is they're all like they're lazy, right? So they skip details, they miss important little facts. You can always catch them out on something. You basically just have to keep them talking until they dig themselves a deep enough hole. Yeah, that's exactly it, Rebecca. Yeah. there was uh there was one guy who called me a couple of years ago, and I basically just started like ripping into them. Like, oh my gosh, like, imagine how much more money you would make if you were just a legitimate salesman instead of like ripping on people. And then we had like, this 10-minute back and forth of just yelling fuck you to each other. Eventually he hung up, and I was just laughing so hard by the end of it. But what a slow morning here so far. That's epic, Mike. I hope you framed that. That's beautiful. Interestingly enough, here VIX has increased a little bit this AM. Seen it as high as like 19. That's kind of interesting. Everything else just looks a little bit stuck, which is frustrating, but kind of one of those things, right? The truth always comes out. You can repress it for so long, and then it always finds a way. I won't lie, I kind of feel like I'm watching paint dry here a little bit. Everything is stuck. Lame. Oh, one sec, guys. Be right back. All right, sorry about that. I think one thing that's like I've been living now back out west, right, for just about 2 weeks. I think I got my place literally 2 weeks ago, and I'm obviously loving it. The best thing about kind of doing this is it makes me feel as if I have like 2 full days in each day, right? Because like my work day starts here pretty early now, starts at like 6 a.m. So I can do kind of like a full day, do your whole thing, kind of put in your 8-hour shift, 9-hour shift, right? Do what you got to do. And then you have like that second 8 or 9 hour window. And it feels like you can do whatever you want in that situation too. It's epic. I don't really trade gold or really anything else. I trade mostly ES, NQ, and CL. And then even based on that, I would say like 80% of my trades are on NQ. The reason why I don't trade some of those other tickers is I haven't back tested them, truth be told. And the amount of effort and work that it takes to back test something is pretty significant. So I don't have like a need to do it, right? My P&L is more than healthy on the year. I get more than enough action here at the moment. And so adding 80 hours of work, right, to back test here something properly just to be able to add, I don't know, maybe 50 trades a year. It's not like the right reward. There's more alpha for me in continuing to basically improve the techniques that I already have, and then going from there. So it's a little bit that, and then obviously the other element to it, it's kind of like survivorship bias. So I've been trading um, basically US based indexes and like US tickers for the entirety of my trading career, like close to 13 years now. It'll be 13 years in September. So I'm kind of like an old dog, hard to teach me new tricks. I would rather look for improvements in what I'm familiar with instead of like finding something new. I'm kind of in the mindset that I'd rather do something better than look for a new distraction, and that's kind of the way to do it. Yeah, Nautilus. So the way that I go, um, there's kind of like 2 points to it, right? So there's the back test and then there's the stress test. So the back test in itself, right, is identifying the pattern and then effectively tracking it and seeing, okay, what's working. I personally do that here manually. Let me see if I can find a spreadsheet here of the last time I did one. And that would have been for the mean reversion strategy, right? And so here's what it looks like, right? Basically just go in, manually fill in all this data for X amount of trades, right? For each time frame, and basically just going in and filling in each point here individually and basically adding notes, adding whatever. Then, right, what my objective is from there is to then basically stress test my trading for a small sample size and comparing do my results match, right, sort of the information I have there on my quote unquote back test. Where am I maybe deviating? What am I able not to execute? What am I able to execute? And then making refinements and improvements. So from my perspective, it's a very manual process. There's not much else besides that. Um, this weekend, right, I did that like 60-minute video of me basically walking through all like the fake out breakout type scenarios, or the double fake outs. I posted like a 60-minute video of that. That's kind of like a I don't know, like a 1/3, right, type variant of a back test, because it's not like a completely new strategy or completely new idea or completely new ticker. It's a refinement, but that would effectively be how that process is. And then track that in a spreadsheet, right? Compare that versus the results that you're getting, and then look to see, yeah, basically how well you can replicate, right, those other environments. So here we go. On this 3-min time frame, we're maybe back in business a little bit. Call that to be flirting with outlier. We have twofold here. Stop loss would be 294.50. That's 20 points. We're gonna have to look at the aggressive technique here now. So stop loss 280, and we're looking for a retest here of that 270-ish. So 21,280 for a short. And I could be looking here at maybe 3 contracts. It'll be 2. So now looking for a little bit of a pullback. Okay, sweet. So I am in average price 268.75, 268.75, 2 contracts. Maybe not the best entry. Come on. Okay, so let's see if this thing can start to break down here now and really start to push. Come on, break, break, break. Here it goes, right? There we go. Start to see if this thing can give me some further follow through here. Flush, baby. Can't quite pyramid into another position here yet. So I'll still need a little bit of further separation here. That pullback wasn't great. Come on. Give me a chance to exit here. Come on. Now it's got to flush. Really got to flush here. Really got to push. Objectively, I would say this isn't behaving the healthiest. So want to try to get some separation here to the downside, then just potentially look to just get out. Come on. Okay, that's not a great candle. Took the stop loss there. Took the stop loss there. I probably should have gone out a little bit early, a little bit earlier. I kind of got a bullshit fill on my stop loss, truth be told. 279.50. I am a little bit tempted to try this again. It was weird. This would be what I'd be looking at here. $18 points of risk. Would like a deeper pullback than that. So a stop of 269. Come on. Can't do that. What a wacky day. Kind of debating playing this on the little squeeze here to the upside with like a stop on a breakdown under 300. There's a part of me that wants to do that here. Buying myself time. See how it bounces off of 3. Gonna wait just for a second here. I have this 5-min candle closing in just a moment. And I think this could give me that entry. I don't have to gypsy it. Okay, so it'd be like a 296 stop, 296. Let's see if that holds. A gentle pullback here, gentle, gentle, gentle. Okay, guys, I am in average price here, 301.75. Stop loss, 296, 3 contracts. All right, I'm going to type this out in a second, but I just want to manage this, just micromanage this just for a moment. 301.75, stop loss, 296. Come on. Keep getting stopped out at really bad prices. Try this again. Okay, so I'm back in here, 303.25. 303.25. Stop loss right, 295. Come on, keep pushing here, keep pushing. Again, 3 contracts on this, 3 contracts on this. Let's quick $500. Come on. Okay, so far so good here, team. So far so good. 303.25 entry. Okay, now keep pushing here. Keep pushing. Come on. Hey, so far so really good here. So far so really good. Beautiful. Come on. All right, guys, I've been stopped out on this. I am slapped around in this chop today. I got maybe one shot left in me here. I don't want to get anything too aggressive. It's kind of been a bit of a butt kicking. All right. And I'm pretty happy to keep taking these small shots. And just scalping away almost. Okay, guys, I'm back in 302.75. 302.75. And I'm already out of this position. I'm already out of this. Try this again. And that was for 120 bucks. Let's try this again. On the board. All right, come on. Pull, 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 pull. And I kind of want to just like buy my stop loss here, right? That's kind of what I'm looking for. Okay, still watching, still watching, still watching. Now you're looking at that, right? Hey guys, I'm in 318.50, 318.50, stop loss 309. Long. Come on. Okay, it's got to start pushing here aggressively, right? It's got to start pushing here aggressively. If it retests my entry price, I'm going to have to look to get out. Kind of been the pattern we've seen here all day, right? So far, so good. So far, so good. Push, push, push. Okay, guys, I'm out at 323. I don't like that reaction. Don't like that reaction. For plus 270. Again, I will reset this and try again. Just do it like that, right? Ooh, bad decision. Maybe not. Come on. Okay, watch this pullback here. 322 or better. Otherwise, right, reset. 3-minute candle is going to close here in a minute. And so you'd be looking at this as your 3-min. Right? Or your 5-min would look like this. So 314. Could potentially do this, but that's super aggressive. Honestly, I might have to start trading after 10 a.m. Okay, watching. Used to be under 322. It's giving me a tease of that, but not quite that number. Mean. Come on, 5 points. Again, watch closely here. $31. The brick. Yeah, previous trade I probably shouldn't have closed. A little bit of a disappointment. Traded probably my P&L just a little bit too much on that one. Again, right, we're going to have another opportunity here for this breakout type trade. Okay, watching, watching, watching. Okay, watch this pullback here now. Okay, guys, I am in 339.50, 339.50. We're just going to keep that risk really tight, and we're just going to target 400. Come on. Again, right? 339.50, 339.50. Just trying to micromanage this a little bit, so apologies for not writing it out. Bear with me for a second. Did maybe chase this entry just a little bit. I would say that's probably what's making me just a little bit anxious here. Come on. Here we go. It's got to survive here. It's got to survive. Come on. There we go. There we go. All right. So now let's see if this thing can break out through that 350. Fantastic. Right. And now I can look to potentially pyramid into another position here on a gentle little pullback. Exactly what I've done. So now I have 6 contracts, average price 345.75, and I'm going to look to trim this right as my P&L is increasing here. Fantastic, right? Fantastic. That's 1,800, 1,900. Green on the day here all of a sudden, right? 2,000. All right, I'm taking that. I'm closed at 64, guys. I have closed at 64 for just a little over 2,000 bucks there on that trade. Not easy work here today. That was 3 contracts, Joe. Sorry, that was 3 contracts. Pyramided into 6 total. Pyramided into 6 total. Sitting now at plus 330 on the day. And like a bit of change. All right, so we're going to continue to look now for these continuation narratives, right? For little pops higher. Let's go, Kiki. Nice work. Tomorrow's still gonna trade. Tomorrow's still gonna trade. I know you've got holiday brain. So the difference here, guys, I think between my P&L and your P&L is I've had a couple orders execute that I didn't mean to execute effectively. So that's what I mean. You guys are all outperforming me here, which is fantastic. You guys are all up $1,000 more than I am. It's a good problem to have. I swear I'm not jealous. Look, don't torture yourself with that kind of stuff, Jeremy, right? It's not worth it. Okay, so now, right, we're looking for a move towards 400. Really nice breakout. Let's go. Nice work. $2,500. Epic, epic, epic. Yeah, we've been really focusing on improving that pyramid, guys, right? Been really focusing on improving it, and it's making a huge difference, right, on the bottom line. Because once price action starts to behave in the right way, you should want to be greedy, right, in increasing your position sizing to a certain extent. Now, I want to be careful how I phrase that, right? Because it's kind of a fine line. But once we get that big breakout, right, after failed moves here to the downside, and then you see volume showing up, you know, you don't really have many reasons left to be kind of scared that price action isn't going to work. Your biggest fear is effectively timing risk. So if you keep your sizing small to start, and then you build up your position sizing as it's kind of moving in your direction, you remove some of that timing risk. And again, I probably left a little bit of money on the table here. Like I said, I closed at 364 instead of, you know, it went, what, 375? So, you know, that's a pretty big difference. But, I mean, this thing is still very much in play here. Just looking for the correct reaction now. I seriously might have to start trading after 10 a.m. Because all my biggest wins these days are coming second half of the morning session. But I'm able to get those tight risk trades. Kind of funny how that works. Maybe I'm just getting more mature as a trader. I doubt it. All right, so still looking here for another long. What I'm doing, though, guys, with my position sizing here, right? Really focusing on making sure that I don't finish the day in the red, right? Really focusing on that. Like position sizing, right, is to basically make sure that I'm not risking more than 330 on this. We've worked really hard, right, to get back to green here today. I'm not throwing that away. Fuck that. Make sense? I would rather go small and pyramid aggressively than start aggressive and then be annoyed that I went from green to red. Yeah, clear? I don't know if this is any longer kind of behaving the way that I want. Wild day. What a life. Yeah, for now, I'm probably going to wait for these candles to close because it kind of feels like this is maybe like a news-driven headline. It's kind of behaving like that, or a news-driven pop. So I kind of want to see, like, if I could get a aggressive entry technique, right? Maybe above 65, and then stop of 57. I think the 38 is probably too far down. Like at most, I'd want it to be 53. So stop of 53, entry a little bit more aggressive. Because if this thing is going to continue to give me momentum here to the upside, we shouldn't really see it pull back too far. So in this situation, right, I'm looking at a 57 stop. And let's see if this thing can pull back here. 3 points, not much. Come on. Oh, you motherfucker. Okay, again, right? We'll reset this in 30 seconds. Oh, can't laugh, you gotta cry. Can't laugh, you gotta cry. Okay, let's watch this close. It's an all right close. That's okay. Making me feel a little bit dumb for closing where I did. I'll fight through that. This is very much squeeze mode here. So I'd be watching stop loss 371, we'll call it. Okay, never mind. Now we're looking at 356 stop. So we need to pull back into 66 or better. Maybe I could do that. 76.50 if it breaks out. Yep, okay. So I'm going to watch here. Watching. Hey guys, I am in. Oh, I got a shit fill. 378.50. I'm in at 378.50. I do think I'm just going to close this in a second, though, guys, because I really don't like the fill I got there. I should have gotten 2 points better for sure. I hate my entry price on this. I only have one contract, so I'm willing to be a little bit patient, but that's outside of my risk reward zone, right? That's why I don't like it. I kind of chase that entry just a little bit. Yeah, I very much chased that entry. Fuck. I'm kind of sitting here hoping I'm going to get bailed out, which is not Not the best thing. Let's see. And go, 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 go. All right, I closed at 381, guys. I closed at 381. I'm just going to take that $60 and reset because I chased that entry. So I'm not going to allow myself to get rewarded for being lucky. If I break a rule, I don't want to get emotionally attached to that position. Fine, so be it, right? I can always try again. Sucks, for sure, sucks. But hey, I have to hold myself to a high standard, right? That's ultimately what that means to me. Because I got lucky there. So admitting I got lucky is better than like basically rewarding myself for a bad decision, right? So I got too chasey on that entry. Not going to expect myself to get bailed out. Take my quick $60, reset, try again. Sucks. But maybe play this now on the 15-min time frame. Nice work, Cole. Let's go. Yeah, it's been a little bit of a fight here today, but we're finally getting that breakout. Nice work, Mark. Congratulations. Absolutely killing it, man. Love to see that. It's like 5K in 2 days. Nice work, Kiki. Now it's definitely a Friday. So again, right? I mean, I know I yapped this morning, right? Hey, win rate's irrelevant. Win rate's irrelevant if you focus on following your process. Kind of spoke it into existence a little bit here today. But that's why managing risk, right? Buying on pullbacks, getting discounts is so important. It makes our lives so much easier, right? And then once the market gives you a direction, a lot easier to survive timing. When the market's choppy, then getting the right timing, that's really difficult. All right, so this would be a 371 stop loss. Okay, so I'm in at 387.75, 387.75. And let's see if this thing can pop. Again, just one contract here, team, just one contract. Let's go, Joe. Congratulations. I think I can get a better entry than this. Come on, push, push, push. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Maybe I'll have a chance to pyramid. Nope. Okay, I closed it at 389.75, guys. Close that at 389.75. Just a quick $40. Sitting now on just a little bit over 500 on the day. Again, should be a lot more. Been a little bit sloppy, leaving some hanging orders here. That's kind of fucked me just a little bit. But nice to be green and loving to see pretty much everyone outperforming here today. Outperforming me here today. I love that. I had that hanging order to start the day that I somehow got filled on. I don't know what the heck happened there. That cost me like $300, and then another trade. It's just some sloppy execution here today, or at least early. It's been a lot better last little chunk here. Maybe do this. 17 points of risk. Oh, what a life, guys. What a life. Okay, so again, we're looking for the aggressive technique here now. 389.75. I'm going to go 389 stop loss. Has to be under 401.50. Under 401.50. So 401.75. Are you kidding? That was so mean. That was literally a tick away. Motherfucker. God damn it. That was $12.50 away from being $2,000. That is ruthless. Oh. Like, that just makes you feel so stupid saying it out loud like that. Oh. All right, so watching here, right? Still watching. Come on, baby. Okay, sweet. So I'm in long 399.75, 399.75. Great entry. Awesome. Okay. $399.75. $399.75. It's starting to look a little bit like exhaustion. Let's see if I can get out of this. All right, guys, I'm out at 401.50. Don't like that candle shape. I think it's going to continue to consolidate around my entry price. So another quick little $40. And we can try this again, but I don't like that failed move retest, failed move retest, failed move retest. Like that's not how strong price action behaves. Again, I'm not going to get greedy. I'm just going to take the quick little win, reset, try again, get it impartial. All of a sudden, right? I feel quite energized here. Now sitting on 705 on the day. 705 on the day. So really scrapping for a living. Jesus. And a good decision. Wow, what a good decision, right? Definitely would have stopped me out. I can't answer. I can't answer that question. AV the Great. It could be you're at your max drawdown. Could be that you're trading the wrong contract. Could be that you're trading the wrong position sizing. You're not giving me nearly enough information to be able to give you a reasonable answer. I don't have any oversight over your account details, so I can't answer that question. Maybe starting to get a rejection thesis here. Yeah, Rusty, I might become a no trades in the first hour convert too. It's like every day I'm starting tough, and then rocket ship. Like, oh man. It's the hardest way to make $700 as a trader. Now it's working. My technique is working fine, but I can't seem to get out of that little loop of first trade being a loss. Pissing me off. Yeah, I'm not gonna look at gold, Deb. I don't give a shit. Right now, markets are giving me lots of tradable opportunities. I'm not going to divert my focus onto something that I don't trade. That's a really bad use of my time. Let's go, Mark. Congratulations, man. Most profitable week of the year. You should be absolutely thrilled. And maybe you got to leave DTR a review. Nice work, Preet. Is that like a 5K day? Nice work, man. Congratulations. Freaking awesome work, guys. Team is crushing it today. Love it, love it, love it. Interesting close. Let's squeeze higher. Again, right? Once you get that high volume breakout above that fake out high, rocket ship. Yeah, I mean, look, traders get paid. We get paid for our decisions, not our time, right? So if we try to box ourselves into making a decision, this is generally not the right way to look at it. But if we can make ourselves be basically impartial, right, and not worry about what price action is doing until we get our setups, cool. And then once we get our setups, right, it's about being honestly ruthless in our execution of those ideas instead of being like stuck, right, and like needing the validation. Just trade without attaching an emotional outcome to it, and you can set yourself up to actually make a lot more money. And I think we've been doing a relatively good job of that here. Kind of in like the most annoying way possible, but The way it goes sometimes. And maybe this could be in play. I'm a little bit maybe feeling like price actions maybe a little bit exhausted here. Or maybe I'm just running out of coffee. I don't know the difference. Honestly, I'm a little bit jealous that everyone has basically double my P&L here today. So some sloppiness, right, is costing me money, but your guys' preparedness is making you more. Just a little bit jealous. All right, so this would be a 379 stop loss. And target here would be 440, right? Our 2R range. All right, guys. So I'm in 392.50, 392.50, stop loss 379. I have two contracts here. 392.50 entry. And see if this thing can pop. Beautiful. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Come on. Okay, don't like that little retest. Hey, appreciate that, Mark. And look, I'll be honest, I do this selfishly because I think it makes me a better trader. So, yes, I do this to help people, but fundamentally, I do it because my learning style is by teaching, and it has helped me become a like exponentially better trader. And so, for me, it's a selfish pursuit. Okay, guys, I've closed this trade at 394. I just don't like how this is behaving here yet. So I'm going to take that quick $40, reset, try again. Yeah, Mark, send me a message on Discord, mate. Send me a message on Discord, Michael DTR, and let's have a chat. Oh, what a day. What a day. What's the time here? 8:34. I think I have a call at 12. Bear with me here a second, team. Yeah, I do. Okay. All right. So I got a little bit of time left. Let's see if we can find something here still. How's everyone feeling? Everyone feeling good? Any complaints here this morning? Love it, Mike. Love it. Hey, beautiful, Rebecca. I love those. Happy tears are the best tears. Nice work, Jeremy. Honestly, team, the thing that I'm like honestly the most proud of here is as like a collective, we have gotten so much better at losing. And I know that that sounds ridiculous, but I think as like a general team, don't take losing personally. And oh my gosh, does that have a big difference on our bottom line, right? So when I'm seeing like us getting our butt kicked to start the day off, and then everyone finishing up the day up $1,000, up $1,500. I mean, Preet's up 5K on the day. That for me is that's more positive than anything, absolutely anything else. So I have to say I'm very proud of you all for basically putting in that work and getting much better at it because it really is the best loser that wins. And you guys are literally proving that on a daily basis. And I freaking love that. Absolutely love it. So I just want to say, right, you guys all deserve like a pat on the back, and you deserve all these P&L rewards. 100% deserve them. Frick, I want to pass this. I want to pass this account too. Get to number 8. Well, here's the deal, Mike. I'll never take 50% of what you own. So it might be an easy decision. %, Rebecca. And I'm a big believer. Like I am religious, but I don't really talk about that in here again, right? I talk about the market and my works and features. I try not to talk politics and stuff like that. But I think, my mom used to always tell me you become like the average of the 5 people you spend your time with. That's what that means to me, right? Like that's what the iron sharpens iron means. I think you surround yourself with other kind of people who have the same motivations, the same ideas, right? Who are going through the same kind of trials and tribulations, and you kind of all lift yourself up together, right? There's like strength in numbers within that context. And I think that's what makes this community really strong. And like why I was really annoyed with that impersonator yesterday, because we have a community here that's all very motivated and hungry and has the same objectives, right? And we're all super supportive of each other. And there's no assholes here. I mean, maybe besides me. So, like, I think it becomes like a little bit of a superpower, right, for the group. And I love that. I absolutely love that. Like one of the things I'm most proud of. So it's two assholes then, Charles. Two of us. So like, trading is fundamentally like a very selfish game. Because it's mono y mono, right? It's me versus me. It's not me versus you. It's not me versus Charles. It's not me versus Rebecca. It's not me versus Mike. And so kind of seeing us all pursue this in our own way as a team. Honestly, I can't ask for anything better from a group of people to work with on a daily basis. It makes this process so much more fun for me. I love it. And seeing you guys have tremendous success. I mean, seeing people have a 5K day. A lot of people don't make that in a month, right? We got people doing that in a day here. Like Rusty, I don't know if you're still in here. You were talking about getting like a 70K payout the other day, right? Right. It's like people don't do that in a year. So seeing that it's epic. It's absolutely epic. Yeah, that's the average household income, Rebecca. It's kind of nuts, right? I'm watching, I'm looking. The problem I'm getting here, Aj, truth be told, is one, I kind of feel like I'm doing a little bit of a victory lap here. And the other is that I just can't seem to get the volume to cooperate on the areas that I'm looking to see it cooperate. So there's like a certain like state of satisfaction right now. Like I feel pretty good, feel pretty happy to be nicely green. Feel pretty happy to have like dug myself out of a pretty nice hole and continue to grow. I think this is gonna be what, 8 green days in a row, maybe 7 green days in a row. I don't know if I need to do anything else. I want to. I absolutely want to. But I think the risk reward of like giving away this feeling of just like a job well done maybe isn't worth it. I also have a call I got to do with a member here in 15 minutes. And so trading with that timeline also makes me, or like that end of day buzzer beater makes me feel a little bit anxious, which is a shame because this thing is freaking roaring. uh All right, let's take a look here. We got one more maybe towards 500. This is full on squeeze mode here. Let's see how this thing closes. Let's watch. You're looking at 7 points of risk. Yeah, I mean, it's a classic breakout here, Robert. Absolutely. So stop would be 339, right? Entry would be 446. So let's see if we can find support here. Okay, that might have been your little fake out, ready for this thing to go. So now stop loss, yeah, 339. Okay, watch closely here. Nope, not the right reaction. Be patient. Let this thing try again. Now stop would be 334. Hmm. Kind of feels a little bit out of juice. Okay, so now stop would have to be 430. All right, watching. All right, guys. Well, I am in a position here. 334.50. Stop loss 429. I have a very aggressive entry there. I have 3 contracts on this. See if it can break out. Come on. Push. Okay, I am out of that at 339. I am out of that at 339. Extra $290, sorry, $255 on that. Again, we'll try this potentially again here. Time I got 10 minutes still. Okay, good decision, right? Very good decision. Let's see if this area acts as support. Nope. Great decision. Let's go. All right. I think I'm going to call it there. That puts me to just a little bit over 1100. And that's a great day. Woo! Busy, busy, busy. Sounds good, Antonin. Enjoy your time off, man. All right, team. Any questions here? I got 10 minutes. I got 10 minutes. I can answer questions. What a day. Oh, baby. Great. Love that screenshot. I don't know if you're still watching. Epic. Let's go, team. Heck of a day. Still, I mean, like I traded a lot here today. You guys still pretty much all outperformed me. So fantastic to have seen that here, truth be told. Love that. And yeah, any questions here, team? Any questions? Anything that maybe wasn't clear? The chaotic day. But you know what? I gotta say, like, the evolution. I definitely think that this week has been an evolution in my trading. I mean that in a positive way. The being more aggressive for when I'm pyramiding, when I know my wins are correct, is making a huge P&L difference. Huge. There's 15 trades today. That's fucked. Uh, we start off with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then. All right. What a journal today is going to be. I think this is the most trades I've taken all year on a single day. 10 wins, 5 losses, and just a beautiful pyramid day. Crazy. What a life, guys. What a life. I'm just going to call this NQ madness. All right, teams, I'm going to go final call for questions here. Final call for questions. Yeah, so inside Top Step X, Rebecca, yeah, absolutely. But I execute on now like 4 different execution windows. And I don't use a trade copier because I'm also trading my personal capital. And I just am so scared of like having a worst case scenario where like an order doesn't close or there's some sort of glitch and it sends a billion orders at a time, that I'm basically just not willing to risk that money. If I were to just only trade prop, cool, no problem. But if I'm already having to separate my orders, I'm happy to basically just do separate order for each one. And it's like, truth be told, it's a little bit to how I had to execute when I was working institutionally anyway. Like you would be managing Apple and a Tesla position and a Facebook position and a Snapchat position. And so you'd have separate order windows for each of those names anyway. So I've effectively been doing that for 13 years. And yeah, just like feel confident doing that from an execution perspective. Don't feel like it really changes too much. But really there's like no right or wrong answer there. It's just find the thing that is best for you and easiest for you and just go all in on doing that. Like your executions and how you decide to link up accounts or how you try to manage accounts, it's kind of like a personal question because there isn't an objective best way. It's what way you're most familiar that you're going to avoid the most amount of execution mistakes, right? So even today, I had an execution mistake. I had a hanging order that got filled. And that cost me, a couple $100, like $300. And so these things do happen, but it's basically trying to avoid like your worst variant of an execution mistake. And if I were to link up my personal family funds to sort of the like a trade copier and trade that with prop, I would be so nervous of having an execution issue or some sort of glitch, basically to like that would liquidate my portfolio. That I'm just unwilling to pursue that. Thank you, Ricky. All right, guys. Any other questions here? I got 1 minute. All right, beautiful. Well, epic day of trading here today, team. Stoked, right? We had a pretty good session. Nice to keep the streak here running pretty well. And let's keep compounding here, right? Let's keep stacking up some wins. That's now how many days in a row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 green days here in a row. Cannot complain about that. P&L looking nice and healthy here. And I think might be requesting a payout here at the end of the day. But yeah, let's see how it goes, team. Fantastic work like always. And looking forward to catching up with a few of you here in our one-on-ones later today. Otherwise, seeing you in the stream here tomorrow for a fantastic end to the week. So have yourselves a great day, team, and we'll talk soon.